We're looking at another video that I have zero context for, but I don't want to give myself any before we go in. Paul and Morgan, 5 signs God is warning you not to date someone. So here are 5 red flags from 2 fundamental Christians, and I don't even want to guess what they're going to be. All right, the quality is not going to be there, but this is a 6-year-old video.
So guys, is God warning you not to date someone? And how would he tell you? How would he show you? What's up guys? How you doing? I'm Paul.
Would he not just like text you? Girl, that guy's a bad idea. He plays Pokemon. That's a red flag. That is a massive red flag. Name one person who plays Pokemon that's not a red flag. He wears Crocs. Red flag. Socks and sandals? Red flag. Bad at sex? Red flag. Good at sex? Bigger red flag? No, I'm joking. That one's a joke. All right, I just watched the Girl Defined video.
I'm Morgan.
And this is the Paul and Morgan, the Paul and Morgan Show. Today's video, 5 signs God is warning you not to date someone.
He can't be like this in real life, right? Like when the camera's off, he's not like Paul and Morgan Show.
Eyebrow hanging.
Oh, makeup artist, you should have seen this.
She has the David Dobrik laugh where she like, I can't look up, but like every time she laughs, she like points her throat straight up into the air for her marriage with Jesus. I'm combining these 2 videos. I'm so sorry.
Present me with one.
I called him zesty in the last video because the video I watched of him before that I didn't make a video on, he used the word zesty, so it was on my brain. You're zesty, bro. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not leaving that ad in. I'm not leaving any of that ad in, but it was so hard to watch. Just Paul the entire time just going... I understand YouTube. I get that YouTube was like an entirely different place in 2019. I don't think I've ever acted this way, especially not as an adult. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a hater. I'm a hater. Maybe I'm just a hater. Hey, Paul.
Because my word for 2019 is fearless.
Very original. What? It's great. That's great. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm just a hater. Like I could do this in private, I think, but I would never put this in a video. Like it's not even like playful. I don't care. Be playful. You should be. You should have fun with your person. It's just not my idea of fun, I guess.
All right, guys, real quick, if you are new here, we are making Christian advice videos on life, love, and dating to help you have hope.
And be free.
So subscribe. Here we go.
Wow, what a psycho.
So guys, is God warning you not to date someone? Let's just jump right into it. Morgan, what's the number 1 thing that we have?
When you're with them and you feel like you can't actually be yourself.
Wait. We need to understand that these are going to be probably universal, right? Like if he hits you when you're walking down the street and then tells you it was your fault, that's a red flag. But that's not God telling you that. That's just a red flag, right? So saying if you can't be yourself around them, that's God telling you it's not going to work out. If you can't be yourself around someone, probably not going to work out anyway. But it's more specific because they're going to be like, if you can't be a God-worshiping Christian around them, they're not for you. But then that goes into like, are they anti-religion? Probably not. Or are they like, hey, stop bringing up God in every conversation that we have. I'm trying to talk to you as a person, not, well, it's what Jesus wants. Jesus made me this way. God made me this way. While you're kicking a puppy. Because if you're going to be one of those people that's like, God made me this way, when avoiding accountability, yeah, you should not be allowed to be yourself. God said, I need to be filled with microplastics. And so now I'm full of regular plastic too, because I keep chewing on stuff. Want to know what happened to this water bottle cap? I chewed on it. You want to know what happens to every plastic cap I have ever? I chew on it. Stop, don't judge me, all right? Only God can judge me. If God didn't want me to chew on plastic, why did he invent it? All of my YouTube comments right now about Paul and Morgan are about how Morgan can't be herself anymore or she's lost herself. Damn, that sucks. This poor woman.
I have gone out on dates that have been,
with other women? In front of your wife, dude? Oh, you would not catch me admitting that.
good dates, but as I get to know the person further, it's just like our lives are on very different trajectories. Is that the word? Their crowd, you know, the way they spend money, the way that they approach certain values, it's just very different. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person or they're not walking with God. There's always going to be things in someone else that are different than you, but I think you get what we're saying. These big things that are causing you not to be able to just truly be who God has created you to be.
I want them to get specific. Like, we have different ideas of what we want to spend our money on. I want a sign behind me that says, I like naps. She wants to invest in the S&P 500.
You're always kind of on edge. Am I enough for this person? Is my way of life gonna work with their way of life? And it's just causing this tension and anxiety.
I feel like I've gone on a few dates before where I was talking to this guy and like I'd hear him talk and I'd be like, oh yeah, I like that too. When I
You married that guy. No, stop. You married that guy. You married him. You married him. You married him. And now he's convinced you to submit to him. God, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. Oh, yeah, that hurt. We're starting a coup. We're breaking into their house and we're freeing her. Can I say that? It's a joke. I'm not going to Kentucky. I'm gonna get racismed. And I'm gonna get in a fight.
didn't like that at all, or I like had no idea what it was. And then there would just be like times when I felt like I had to act more sophisticated, and so I just felt like, oh dear, like I wonder if this person would actually like me, if like when they really get to know me, are they gonna really like me? The answer to that was no, not always. They didn't end up liking me when they found out who I really was.
I don't know how old they were when they got married, and I don't know how old they were when they were dating other people. When you're younger, right? Like if cause she's young. So if she's like, when I was 16, I was so scared to be myself. Yeah, absolutely. That's not a critique that you want to levy onto people. It's so hard to just be yourself when you're trying to figure out who you are. That's fine. I get that. You hide so many parts of yourself because you're embarrassed and you're a kid. But if you're like in your 20s lying to people about who you are to get another date, all you're doing is lying and wasting people's time. Be who you are and surround yourself with the people that like that person. Unfortunately, it works really well if you're a bad person. But what are you going to do? Surround yourself with people that don't like you? That just sucks.
God wouldn't put you with someone where you had to pretend to be something you're not.
The number 2 warning that God might give you if you're dating the wrong person is if pretty much right out of the gate, early on, you realize you're compromising your morals. And these could be physical, they're likely to be physical, but if you're just compromising in general, I'm just thinking out loud, like the Bible talks about staying away from crude joking. And if like when you're with this person and you realize like, oh man, I'm starting to say stuff that is not me, it's not godly.
Is there a passage in the Bible that talks about like not making fart jokes? I don't think the whole like, women are, and then calling them a name is funny, right? Just because for the sake of like, I don't think it's funny. That's never going to make me laugh. So I stay away from that in general because it's not enjoyable for me. And then I don't trust the people who like do think those jokes are funny, but it doesn't have to be like a God thing. It doesn't at all. Do you think Jesus would like any of my stand-up? Do you think if Jesus walked into my show in the middle of me going, do you think priests treat Ash Wednesday like Tinder? Like they get the ashes and they laugh? You think Jesus would think I was funny? Or am I going to hell?
This guy that I like, I know that he's done stuff with girls in the past, and I don't know if he'll want to go out on a date with me if like he hears me say, oh well, I'm saving this and this for marriage and I don't want to cross these lines. Like maybe I just shouldn't tell him, or maybe I should like act kind of laid back about it, like, oh yeah, like I want to save that, but if it happens, it happens. Like if you start realizing that you're thinking those thoughts in your mind of maybe it's not that big of a deal, no, that person's not for you, because God would never put you with a person that makes you compromise your morals.
Yeah, obviously. Like you shouldn't be with someone who is pushing you past the boundaries that you have set, especially when it comes to like your own body. That being said, wouldn't it be more beneficial to say that you should find yourself attracted to people who have similar sets of morals as you? Like, I want to save myself for marriage and I want my partner to respect that and be the same way. Oh, I know this guy's been with multiple women. Shouldn't that kind of be like a, maybe we don't have the same morals, I should be attracted to someone else? Rather than like, he'll change. He won't make me do anything. Like, you don't have to go after every person you're attracted to.
It makes you compromise what the Bible says.
There should be unity in the boundaries. You might have to discuss, you might have to get on the same page, but there shouldn't be this consistent, one person's trying to stick to boundaries and the other one keeps pushing them to compromise. Red flags.
You should compromise instead of submitting to the man. I agree, Paul. I agree.
And maybe it's not even a physical boundary or moral that you set. Maybe it's I'm a Christian, but I don't like to go to church, so I don't ever want to go to church. And you're like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, he says he's a Christian, so I mean, that's okay that he doesn't go to church. But in your heart of hearts, you're like, I really want a man who is dedicated to going to church with me and raising our kids in the church. Like, but you're like trying to compromise that. Like, don't do that. Number 3, you're having to push too hard to make it work. / you're doing all of the work to keep this conversation going, to keep the relationship up, to make plans to go on dates, stuff like that.
This will be the last time I say this, because otherwise I'm going to say this the next 2 times as well. These are just things that you, as a person, should expect of your partner. You don't have to be a Christian, and it's not a sign from God. I've said this before. Leah is so much better at planning things than I am, and she is so much smarter. Every now and then I'll be like, oh, I want to do this, and we'll go do it. But for the most part, we're both homebodies and don't worry about planning things too much. There's an expectation there that you have to set from the beginning. How often do you want to do things outside of the house? And how often do you want to plan it versus your partner planning it? And then there's exceptions that you make. I have a friend who went through a little bit of a trauma with having to plan things, and so now it freaks her out. And she doesn't want to do it at all. So whenever she starts relationships, she lets people know that she is happy to bring up ideas, but she cannot do any of the planning. And people just have to be like, okay. But you bring that up at the beginning. Again, not a God thing. You should just have good expectations of the person that you love and you want to love you.
That's just more of like a practical red flag. If you're doing all the work, that probably means the other person is not as invested in the relationship. I've been in relationships where I really want it to work out, so I'm pushing and pushing, and at some point you just have to be willing to let it go and be like, they're not as into me as I am into them.
It's hard to accept that sometimes because you're like, no, I really think...
Do they have a 7-year-old? Because their eyes are so dark. Like mine are too. They're actually getting better, but that's because I usually have a lot of trouble sleeping. They both just look so tired and sleep deprived.
Hard to accept that sometimes because you're like, no, I really think that if this person would just give us a chance, we could work. But accept that God is not allowing that chance to happen because it's not made for you for some reason that you won't know maybe ever.
The dangerous thing about having left it all up to God is that the opposite can be true. You're stuck in a marriage, but that's what God wanted for you. No. No. You should believe in a God that believes in you and your ability to make your decisions and hopefully make the right one. This is not divine intervention. If there is a God, he isn't holding your hand. You're okay to make decisions and then blame it on yourself and the people around you and the people that are also in that decision. It's okay. It's okay. God didn't tell you to start a YouTube channel. Your bank account did.
Hate to break it to you, but the other person might not like you. Or they might be like, I mean, literally it's sad, but some girls or guys are okay with just leading the other person on. Maybe just to have arm candy or whatever, but they're not really into it. They don't really care about you in the relationship. Don't settle for that.
Yeah.
Another warning sign could be if your family and friends all do not feel good about this person that you're dating. That's one of the biggest things. If your family is saying, hey, I don't have a good feeling about this.
There are like small caveats to that, right? If your entire family who you trust and think are good people are like, hey, I don't like the vibe this person gives off. Absolutely. If your Bible Belt, all white family happens to not like your non-white partner and you just can't tell why. Damn. I wonder why. Maybe care about their opinion a little less. And I've said it on this channel a lot. Some of the nicest people I've met have been very racist. It's not about what they say to you or how they shake your hand. It's about how they think of you and your place in this world when you've turned around. I've had the same person tell me that I have gorgeous eyes, also tell my partner that we don't date them in the same day. So yes, you should listen to your family. However, consider their biases.
You know, whether they're giving you all these really good reasons or maybe they're just like, I just don't feel good in my spirit. Don't ignore that. There is such a thing as your mom or dad being like, this is my precious little girl. She's the best in the world and no guy deserves her.
Or, this is my precious little boy and no girl deserves him.
Like all the boy moms trying to date their own sons.
So that's a real thing, but if, like Morgan said, that continues to all the people around you that are, because some people see things that you don't, and if you allow infatuation to creep in early on, then it can be really hard to see obvious red flags. It can be easy to miss those. So I would highly recommend that you're going to people around you and saying, how do you feel about this relationship that I'm in? Do you see some things that I don't? Do you feel good about it?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Imagine Lee going to all of her friends and being like, y'all think Max is ugly? What do you think about Max's mustache? Ah.
Thanks, babe. I mean, that's a pretty good idea, isn't it?
Okay. Number 5.
There's no way she actually thinks he's funny, right? Listen, Max. Chill. I'm a hater. I gotta chill. I'm sure she loves him and his sense of humor. I'm sure he's the life of every party. I'm sure he had hundreds of people say, oh, Paul, you're so funny. You should start a YouTube channel prior to doing this. Oh, Paul, you're so interesting. Oh, Paul, you've always been the crazy one. Oh, Paul, you're so unique. Never seen a white man with a camera before.
We're so dramatic.
Morgan, I think you are the queen. Wow, Squishy just bit my pinky really hard. Not cool, dog. I took you on a...
If the dog is attacking them, that's a red flag. The dog knows. The dog knew. The dog still knows. Leave him. Leave him.
big run this morning.
A big run.
You better be grateful.
It was like 3 minutes long.
I feel like, Morgan, you are the queen of number 5. So what is it?
That feels like a foreshadow for his pickleball career, where he's like, oh yeah, we went on a big run this morning, probably going pro. And she's like, it was like 3 minutes.
I took you on a big run this morning.
A big run.
You better be grateful.
It was like 3 minutes long.
I feel like, Morgan, you are the queen of number 5. So what is it?
Number 5 is you get a gut feeling. You have a gut feeling, which in my opinion, the Holy Spirit is speaking to you.
I like to...
Max, Morgan, and both of the Girl Defined sisters have never had a feeling in their gut. Not with men like this. Maybe with Jesus one day when they get up there.
Which, in my opinion, the Holy Spirit is speaking to you.
I like to call it
stomach.
Unrest.
Sometimes God will put us in uncomfortable situations that we're not used to, that we're very confused about. We're like, how do we go about this, Lord? Paul, he had to search for a little while to find that peace, but he did find it in our relationship, in our engagement and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I specifically sought the Lord, saying, Lord, you need to reveal to me, is Morgan the one to marry? And in the end, he spoke to my heart and said, my blessing is on.
I like how he worded that. Like, Lord, you need to do this. You need to reveal. Morgan? Is it Morgan? Tell me. You don't tell me I'm going to Mormonism, all right? You either tell me now or I start soaking. What is my obsession with soaking today?
And in the end, he spoke to my heart and said, my blessing is on your marriage with this woman. And so he ended up giving me peace. But it wasn't necessarily just all rainbows and butterflies and peace throughout our relationship. There were times when I was scared, times when I was nervous.
You're being so bad.
But ultimately, the Lord gave me peace.
I had someone message me and say, hey Morgan, there's this guy, he seems to be like a really good guy. He says he's a Christian, we talk about God, but he doesn't go to church at all, and he never really has, and he says that he doesn't ever want to. And that kind of scares me, because I don't want that necessarily. She said specifically, I have this gut feeling that the Lord is telling me to move on and just focus on my relationship with him. And she was like, what should I do? And I was like, girl,
Easy.
go with that gut feeling.
Go with the gut.
Go with the gut. Oh, I hate myself for that one. There is a big difference between your relationship with God and your relationship with the church. And I'm not going to get into that, but you don't have to go to church to be Christian, a good Christian, or a practicing Christian. However, if what you want is someone to go to church with you, and this person adamantly says, I'm not going to do that, I'm never going to do that, but that's what you want, then yeah, move on. It's not that difficult. It is not on you to then sit there and judge how good of a Christian they are, but you can move on. And it's not a big deal. I'm glad that was the advice, not, oh girl, you could change them.
It's this like little seed of wisdom that the Lord plants inside of you and is like trying to water it and grow it and help you understand what he's trying to show you.
And the Lord can speak to other people to help you as well. Morgan, I feel like you had a good quote in one of our other videos about if it's something your gut, blah, 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 blah.
If it's in your gut,
Yeah,
kick
something.
it in the butt. Trust your gut, I'm telling you what.
That's pretty good.
If it's in your gut, it might be his nut. What? Red flags are red flags, and I don't think you need God to confirm that for you. If there's any situation you're in where you just don't feel great about it, you're allowed to get out of there. You don't owe anyone an explanation, even yourself sometimes. That's okay. I have a joke where I talked about like my red flags that I like in women, and it's very much a joke. I like the banter that goes into like making fun of each other, but I don't actually want my person to be like mean to me. That would hurt my feelings in ways people on Reddit could never. I think the biggest one that people like reacted to was when I said, I like when women don't pay attention to me. Like I want her to let me know that she's not busy and then not respond to me for a week. But again, that's just like fun. I do enjoy the communication a lot, but I'm gonna end it here and Toast is already gone. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Thank you all for sitting with me today, hopefully a couple times today. And I'm gonna go edit these videos and figure out who it is I'm gonna be tomorrow. Thank you all for, again, spending your time with me. And I'm very, very grateful for each and every one of you. I had a video go up on the 11th that was then copyright claimed due to some music. And I thought about just spending the day getting rid of all the music and then re-uploading it. It still would have been like a 40-minute video. But instead, I put it on Patreon, and maybe I'll do that later, but it won't be now. I am going to waste a little bit of your time and push my Patreon again. I am going to be gone for a month, and I do still want to be able to film as much as possible, but I don't know how that's going to work because I've never filmed when I've stayed with my girlfriend for a long time. Hopefully it works out, and hopefully you get to see her in a few videos. But something that we for sure are going to do is I'm going to make her watch a lot of trash TV because that's what I like to do. And also just like other things that I want to spend time watching and watching with you that isn't like 95% commentary. So that'll be up on Patreon. It'll be me alone next week, and then it'll be me and her the week after that. If that's something you're interested in, whether that's 90 Day Fiance, 1,000 Pound Sisters, probably, Sister Wife, any of those shows, and I'm happy to take recommendations. We will be doing that on Patreon. But I want to say again, that is 100% just if you want those videos. I'm happy to have your support in the form of watching these videos, so I don't feel like you need to pay me on Patreon or any other way. But if you do want to have access to those videos and want the transaction of like, hey, I'm making this content, if you specifically want this content and you want to subscribe to the Patreon to do so, that's great. But do not feel like you have to be a part of the Patreon just to support me. I will be okay. With that being said, I'm going to dip out. So y'all have fun. I tried to juggle in the last video and it did not work out because I cannot juggle chapsticks. Want to do a tarot reading for the last 20 seconds? All right, this is for all of you. I'm not looking. I'm just grabbing a card. You are a Magmortar. It's so hard to know how it is you're supposed to change, but you will one day get there. And if you don't know, I think you need a Magmarizer as a held item, and then you trade Magmar to evolve it into Magmortar. And as a 9-year-old, I don't know how I was supposed to put that together. But now I know. And one day you'll know too. All right, go. Get out of here. I look like a Pokeball. I am a Pokeball. God, I need you to tell them to leave.